Hey, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel for another rebuttal. If you're new, welcome. I appreciate it. For my subscribers, welcome back. If you are new, thanks for checking me out and giving me a chance. So, anyway, if you like this kind of content, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to me? I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And why don't you go ahead and check out the other videos I've already uploaded? Speaking of getting on with the video, grab your popcorn and your facepalm gear, get comfortable, and let's go pummel some creationism nonsense.
Greetings once again. I'm scientist John Morris Pendleton, and today we're going to have a conference that I never had before. I never gave it for a number of years that I was giving these creation science talks. It's a conference that's grown out of a necessity that people want answers to this question, and that's about UFOs. What can we know about them? And what does the Bible have to say about them? What's really true and what's just a lot of fanciful thinking? Now, if you need a little help to remember where is that place that I live in Mexico, let me give you another little help. It was in August 12th of 1883 that the first ever taken photograph of a UFO occurred. And it was in no humbler place than in Zacatecas, Mexico.
You know, John, I really don't mind talking about UFOs, but it would have been more interesting if you would have combined this with your dinosaur talk. Like dinosaurs from outer space. That would have been much more interesting. But okay, since I got to deal with this, let's go. I mean, you make shit up anyway, so, why don't you just make shit up about aliens and dinosaurs and alien dinosaurs and you know, dinosaurs from outer space and whatever the fuck. I mean, since we're making shit up anyway. John, I don't think Beam Me Up Scotty can be found in the Bible. But anyway, the Bible has nothing to say about UFOs. Not that it would matter anyway, because the Bible is a work of fiction. What's true? That's an odd question coming from you, John, seeing as how you think this sky wizard poofed the universe into existence from nothing. By the way, where was God before he poofed the universe into existence from nothing? The truth, John, is that alien life can exist. Haven't you ever heard of the hypothesis of panspermia? Of course, it is still a hypothesis, but it is way more likely than your "my sky wizard did it" um, bullshit story. At any rate, alien life forms are much more plausible than your sky wizard. Why do I have to explain this to you?
Now, this man in this picture, his name is Jaime Maussan. He's a Mexican, and he is noted across the country as the country's leading authority on UFOs and extraterrestrial life. I had a chance to hear Mr. Maussan in 1999 here in Zacatecas, Mexico, where I live, and he had no sooner begun talking, and I was about to stand up and tell him a thing or two. The Lord told me to keep quiet and be a little more prudent, which I obediently did. Why did I want to stand up and say anything to him? Because what he said right in the beginning really provoked me. And in fact, this is the whole reason that we have this conference, because people are saying, well, since life evolved here on Earth, then without a doubt it's evolved all over the universe. Now,
What's all this shit?
E.T. phone home.
My God, he's talking.
I'm sorry, guys, but you gotta let me have my fun. I mean, I listen to all this bullshit, right? And come on, who wouldn't want that clip in a video like this? Jaime Malson. Well, I've never heard of him, but I mean, come on. Can you even be an expert in UFOs and extraterrestrial life? I mean, is that even a thing? It's not like you can go to school for it, you know? Not like this has anything to do with anything, but, when you said, "The Lord told you," you know that's just internal dialogue, right? You're telling yourself, so it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Okay, so you're saying that people say that if life evolved here, there's no doubt that life evolved in the rest of the universe. Actually, don't know anybody that says that, but okay. But that's just me personally. Um, yeah, what's so untenable about that, John? Sounds perfectly logical to me.
One, it says universal religion of the 21st century, UFOs. And see, man has always wanted to believe in something. He always wants a helping hand to get through things. And a lot of times man does not want God to help him because God says, be you holy as I am holy. We don't like to be told, man does not like to be told that he has to give up his sins in order to come to God. He doesn't like to do that. He doesn't want to be forgiven and changed. He wants God's help, but he wants to continue in his sinful way of doing many different things. And so UFOs, extraterrestrial life and beings, is a good alternative because they might give us a help, people say, and they don't require us to change our lifestyle as we like it.
Not quite sure that's accurate, John. The universal religion of the 21st century. I have never in my life met someone who even cares about UFOs. And I've been a lot of places, John. I mean, up and down the east coast of America. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Canada. I've been all across America. So, no, this is not a universal religion. You sure are asserting a bunch of things with no evidence. Man has always wanted to believe in something. No, that's not quite right. Because for the most part of our history, John, we have been struggling to survive. Not everyone believes in your book, John. In fact, not everyone believes in your God. I know that's kind of hard for you to wrap your head around because you have this idea that everyone knows your God exists. No, John, not everyone knows your God exists. In fact, you don't even know your God exists. I know you believe your God exists, but in order for you to know something, you have to be able to show it. And you can't. And I get so tired of repeating myself. When will you people learn that there is no such thing as sin? There's such thing as wrong, but there's no such thing as sin. Seems to me, John, that you don't talk to very many people outside your little church world. Um, we don't say we want help. We know there's nobody else out there to help us but us. Now, to get to your point about aliens and UFOs, if they are out there and if they have visited us, yeah, that's pretty cool, I will admit. But um, we don't say we want their help, and we don't say that we want them to come visit us. Yes, there is a sliver of the population that is obsessed with UFOs, And aside from that, there are people out there whose religion requires aliens and UFOs, but that is not the majority of people.
Some of you may have heard of Roswell, New Mexico. It's a place where in 1947 there were as many as 3 different extraterrestrial spacecraft that crashed in the fields around Roswell. I had a chance to visit Roswell a couple of years ago and went through their extensive museum all about the Roswell incident of these extraterrestrial spacecraft crashing in the area. Now, I paid $2 to go in their little museum there that gave me a Walkman, which guided me through the different display areas. I read everything. I listened to the tape. I took probably a lot more time than most people take. The tape only lasted about an hour. I was there over 2 hours. I took some photographs. One was this particular one, which is one of the being. This is one right in the beginning where it's just a piece of plastic, okay, of what some people claim to have seen of these extraterrestrial beings. In fact, in that whole museum, I didn't see a physical thing of any of these crashed spacecraft or anything. There were some testimonies there of people, testimonies that came forth 30, 40, 50 years later.
Ah, yes, good old Roswell. Well, in my personal opinion, it was just a top secret government project, but you're always going to have conspiracy theorists out there. So, let's talk about it because I think it's quite interesting. You know, I'm not a conspiracy nut, okay? So, is it just me, or in that second clip, was he trying way too hard to convince us that he actually cared about what was in their little museum? Okay, so you say you didn't see a physical thing that led you to believe that extraterrestrials really touched down in Roswell. Okay, I believe you. Then why do you believe that a God that you've never seen physical evidence for exists? There's a name for that, John. It's called double standard. And you just fell into the double standard trap. I also find it hilarious that you don't accept testimony from 30, 40, 50 years later when those people were actually eyewitnesses and were there at Roswell, but you accept the Bible when there were no eyewitnesses. Now, don't get me wrong, eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable, especially when it has been that long since the incident. But it's still hilarious that you think that there were eyewitnesses that wrote the New Testament. But since you do think that eyewitnesses wrote the New Testament, you know the New Testament wasn't written until 30, 40, 50, 100 years after the fact. So, double standard again, John.
One thing that's very perplexing to many people are these grain designs. Fields of standing grain of wheat, barley, oats are plastered down, and the images can be seen from the sky. The problem is that these are found now in some 15, I think even 25 different countries of the world have these. Now there's some people that have come forward and said, oh no, we did it. We have these little boards and a rope on it. We just kind of jump around in there and we make these. Well, the amazing thing is the precision in which these are made. These people are never caught in the act, and they tend to appear from one day to the next. And oftentimes there's a number of UFO sightings, and then these figures appear in the different grain.
There was nothing other than just the physical movement that this object had done to the grass.
What's interesting about this case is that it may be the first example of what would later become crop circles. The RCMP send their evidence to the Canadian National Research Council, who claim that the circles are likely fairy rings, a circular pattern left behind by plant-killing fungus. But many experts dismiss that theory, because fairy rings are rarely of uniform size, and while they leave a mark on vegetation, they have never been known to make clockwise swirling patterns.
So I actually looked up fairy rings. Come on, guys, you don't think I'd just find a clip from YouTube and that would be my research, do you? No. I actually looked up fairy rings, and they're actually a thing, and they're actually a plant-eating fungus. Actually, to be exact, it's more than one fungus. Usually what happens is that mushrooms will shed their spores, and then it'll go out and create a circle of mushrooms. And these mushrooms kill the grass underneath it, which is why you get those circular looking things. And you can see from this picture that they actually do look like crop circles sometimes. So you see, John, whether or not this is the explanation, you first have to rule this explanation out. You know, for a guy dead set on proving that the only thing that can be an explanation for anything is God, creation, magic, and devils, you sure don't put a whole lot of research behind your stuff. You know, it might work if you actually research this stuff, but you don't. But let's face it, research would put a very, very big hole into what you already want to believe. Not to mention the fact that I don't think you can research anyway. I mean, it's not like you have a master's in chemistry, you just have a bachelor's. Doesn't say much. And before people get on to me about education, yes, I know you don't need a master's or even a bachelor's in order to research and in order to teach yourself how to research. However, it does help, okay? So, yes, I know, but it does help.
I think really probably the starting point was in 1947 after World War II. There was a man flying a small plane in the state of Washington, and he observed along the mountain range there that several, I think it was 4 or 6 things went flying by at extremely fast rate, and having the mountains as sort of a backdrop and a way to gauge their speed. He says they were going very fast and they looked like flying saucers. And his statement has stuck. That's what they've been called since then, as the flying saucers.
1947, you say? Huh. Something started in 1947. Let's see, I can't quite remember what started in 1947. Oh, yeah, the Cold War. That's what started. John, if you can't see the link between the start of the Cold War and the start of the proliferation of reports of flying saucers, then you must be dumber than I thought you were. Beyond that, there are things you said and didn't say that make me doubt his story. First of all, you said he was in a small airplane. Now, if you're in something that moves and are judging something that moves, then your judgment is going to be off. That's plain simple. What you didn't say that caught my attention was that this guy was a trained Air Force pilot or Army pilot or whatever. That's kind of important.
I think one of the most documented ones is what occurred in 1952. The White House, as you can imagine or should imagine, is the most protected place in the whole United States because that's where the president lives. In 1952, there was an alert that went to the military base of objects that were flying over or near the White House. Jets were dispatched from the military base to go check out who were these flying objects. Now remember, the radar at the base saw these objects as well as the jets on their radar screen. The jet pilots saw these objects on their radar screen, and as they got closer, could see them with their own eyes. And these objects saw these jets coming and pew, they were gone. Well, since there was no more need there and even the base could not see these objects flying anymore, the jets were ordered back to the base. Well, then as soon as they got to the base, and here are these objects again flying over the White House, and so the jets go back out again. And for about 6 hours, they played a game of cat and mouse. Finally, apparently, the UFOs got tired of it and disappeared at an extremely fast rate of speed.
So I did track down this claim, thanks mainly to your Washington Post that you flashed up on the screen. Thank you for that, by the way. Unfortunately for you, you made it easy for me to find out that it was more than likely a temperature inversion. I also love how you just make shit up. Your mentors, Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, and Carl Baugh would be proud. But you know what? Nothing says these UFOs actually sped off. Another thing you forgot to mention was that this actually happened over the course of 4 days. 2 days here and 2 days there. But anyway, enough about getting on to you about that. Let's talk about temperature inversions. So in normal situations, cooler air is above the warmer air, but when an inversion occurs, the cooler air is close to the ground under the warmer air. This creates a problem because warm air rises, pollutants and other things trapped in the cooler air will not be able to escape. In short, the explanation for this is that the fighter pilots and the radar were just picking up pollutants in the air. So I guess at that time they were UFOs, but they have since been identified, and so they're not UFOs anymore, and this is a terrible example.
Then we have that there are interstellar visitors. They're coming from another solar system. Well, the Andromeda galaxy is the closest spiral galaxy like ours. It's 2.9 million light years away. That's an awful long ways to go and come home. Some say it's from another universe. Well, I only know of one universe, and we happen to live in that one. I don't know where the door is to another universe. That only leaves the eighth possibility, and that is ultra-dimensional visitors from the spirit world. That's a fancy scientific phrase to say that they are demons.
So I did cut some stuff out, but basically John's just talking about reasons that demons are the only thing that can fit these UFO sightings and blah, 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 blah. Logic does it, so I'm not going to do it again. Although, strangely on this list, he includes pranks and jokes and hoaxes, and he flat out admits those happen. So, I'm not quite sure how he can justify demons are the only ones. Now, on to the fun stuff. You do know, John, that there's a difference between a solar system and a galaxy, right? Interstellar is between solar systems, and the Andromeda Galaxy is a galaxy, you doofball. Am I to take it from your statement, then, that you don't believe in extra universal beings because you've never seen any extra universal beings? Does this mean you're an atheist now? Because that's what God is, an extra universal. John, you're an idiot. You just said that you believe hoaxes happen and that they are a good explanation for at least some UFO sightings. Will you please stop stepping all over your own arguments? But maybe you need reminded about what you just said. Insert clip here.
The second possibility are hoaxes. For example, we have a lot of photographs like this one. Here's some police officers talking, and there's a flying saucer right next to them. It's just a little bit of trick photography, just pasting some photographs together. And we can do that too nowadays with a lot of even computers and videos.
And then John drones on and on about 7 physical impossibilities that has to make it demons. Logic has already done this. Go watch his channel. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. However, suffice it to say that these physical impossibilities only apply to earthbound and interplanetaries. Shout out to these lovely people who allow me to do what it is that I do in calling out this crap. If you would like to join, you can join for as little as 99 cents a month. All you have to do is click the join button at the bottom of the screen. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment in the comment section. I read all of your comments, and it also helps the algorithm. So, in leaving a comment, you will also help me. Thank you very much. Please check out the rest of my available content. And until later, have a great day, and I will see you when I see you. So, toodaloo.